a square polish. This is stove side. The rest of the kitchen's already polished. Now I'm gonna be using a 4-inch hard backer. That's what I'm gonna put on my polisher. Now the one thing that you really wanna be careful when you're polishing granite is, especially if you're doing it wet, which I hope you are, you wanna make sure that you learn how to hold the polisher straight, that you don't go up or down on an angle if you're polishing a straight edge. Now I'm going to put this backer on my polisher, starting with a 50 pad, to make sure that I get those lines from the saw blade off first. The way pads work is, if you start with a 50 all the way to 3000, or whatever, if you go to 5000 buff pads, one pad takes away the line from the other. So the 50 pad is going to take off the line from the saw blade. The 100 is going to take the line from the 50. The 200 is going to take the line from the 100, and so on and so on. So one thing that I want you to notice is the way that I hold the polisher. Notice that I'm not holding the very bottom of it, like what it looks like the handle of the polisher. I don't hold it there, ever. Because if I do, I'm going to end up putting the polisher on an angle, and I don't want to do that. So over the years, I taught myself to hold the polisher. I'm right-handed, so my thumb is usually right over the top of the polisher, or just to the side of it, to make sure that my hand is upright. Now with my left hand, I just kind of hold it to make sure that it's straight. So one thing, right here, I turn the water off real quick, only for the sake of, some people like to do this dry, the first few pads, because they say you can see it better, or whatever reason they may have. I don't recommend this at all, because even though there's a little bit of dust, it's enough dust to hurt you. So another thing that I want you to notice is one thing that I do is I make like an imaginary line in the center of my backer. 2 imaginary lines. So with the center of my polisher, I'm hitting the top, the center, and the bottom of whatever piece I'm polishing. So you want to make sure that your polisher is nice and straight. You don't want to hold the bottom of the polisher because it's going to be on an angle, and you don't want to be up too high. So one thing that I do is also, the darker the stone, the more dense it tends to be. So I kind of lean into it. Instead of pushing up against the stone, I kind of step back a little bit and lean right into the stone. This way my body weight is doing all the work instead of me pushing all day. So I'm going to go through these pads real quick. You just want to make sure that always your polisher is straight. You hit the bottom, the center, and the top. Sometimes you can go in a circular motion, but you need a little bit of experience to do that. So I'm going to go through all the pads right now real quick. And I'm going to do the exact same thing with every pad. Don't do anything different with another. Maybe with the last 2 pads, you want to spend a little bit more time just to get a nice shine. That's optional. But if you do the exact same thing with every pad, it's going to look nice. It's going to look really nice. And just about to be done. And I'm going to clean it and dry it, and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so I cleaned it, dried it, and this is what it looks like. Now, it's nice and shiny, it's beautiful. And as you can see, it only took me a few minutes, and I went through 7 pads with this stone, from 50 all the way to 3000. Now, it's the same idea with every single stone. Maybe you want to use a 5000 pad, maybe a buff pad. If you want to, that's optional, and that's perfectly fine. If it looks good to me, I just let it be, and it does look good. And this is how I polish granite.